If you recall from your history lesson, okay, even if you never took history lesson, as human beings, we are always aiming at finding easier and efficient ways of doing things. This will mean reducing the cost of production, increasing quality, finding ways to increase quality, as well as cutting the time it takes for our products or services to get to the customers. Basically, in short, with globalization, things are, it's all about speed. But then the question is, what does this mean to somebody who's looking for a job? This will actually mean redefining employability and figuring out if you have some transferable skills. And in this video, you're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about the 3 things you need to know about employability and the question of transferable skills. So let's get started. As at now, okay, assuming you don't have a job and you've been looking for one, or assuming you've been, just paying attention to the employment market, you quickly realize that the old model of go to school, get better grades, and then you'll get a nice job, that model is broken. Okay, it's not working anymore. Well, it's a bit difficult, and the reason is actually simple. It used to work because, if you look at the history, okay, we had a Great Revolution, we had Industrial Revolution. Or during the Industrial Revolution, the whole idea was companies looking for workers who can get things done at the cheapest way possible. Basically, you have a skill, you get a job, okay? But things are changing. One of the things that is changing is that there are a lot of colleges, there are a lot of universities. So the demand for workers is, it's not like if it's hard for you to get somebody to employ. So competition is sort of growing, okay? Competition is growing among the labor market, because if you have technical skills and somebody else has similar technical skills, then the question is, what separates you from that person? So that is one of the reasons why people just can't seem to get a job. Of course, they will think it's the government's fault, or it's old people don't want to retire. Yeah, it's not that. That's just one of the probably reasons, but that is not the thing. The thing is, first of all, if you're going to decide on your career path, you need to understand 3 things about employability. So what is the first thing? Well, the first element relates to a number of interpersonal skills and behavior that make an individual employable. Most people just get stuck at this element, this first aspect of employability, and that's it. They don't do anything else. In fact, at this level, we tend to define employability as a set of achievements, skills, understanding, and interpersonal attributes that make a graduate more likely to gain employment and be successful in their chosen occupation, which benefits themselves, workforce, community, and the economy. In fact, if you look at that definition, okay, if you're looking at that, you realize that's the sort of definition that you expect a guy running a high level of education, probably a principal or something, to sort of give when you ask them what is employability. So if you get stuck at that level, it means you assume that because I have my technical skills, because I have my diploma or my degree, then I have skill sets, okay? And these skill sets are supposed to get me a job, which is true, okay? There are those jobs which are skill-oriented. For instance, if you want to be an accountant, it sort of makes sense for you to go and study accounting. But the problem is, so you having accounting skills that you got as a result of taking your CPA. The question is, how many people are in that class? And the answer is always going to be many, because even if you're 30 people in a class, how many people start for that exams in the entire country? So yeah, this approach to employability is good, figuring out what skill sets do you have. That's a good thing. But that is just the first thing that you need to understand about employability. So first of all, the question is, do you have those job-related skills, okay, in terms of the job that you're looking for? At times, the reality is people leave education without having acquired the right skills, and so they have trouble finding jobs. And that is where you end up finding people who say, I studied, I did a 4-year degree program, and then I just couldn't get a job. Yeah, the problem is you got stuck at that first level. That's one of the problems. Now, the second thing you need to understand about employability is individuals having a fruitful career throughout their working life due to maintaining a relevant skill base, which makes them flexible and able to add value to an employer who requires agile workforce. The second thing you have to ask yourself after having acquired your skills, okay, the skills that you talked about, or the skills that you've gotten from college or whatever it is Okay, so yeah, I have the skills. Now, how productive am I going to be? Because I see this a lot in class when, talking to those college students. And after the time, they're more keen on getting better grades. So they are keen on figuring out how are they going to be productive. You meet somebody who's doing computer and then you ask them, so what are you doing? Literally, I'm doing programming, right? So the question is, how many programming languages do you know? And the answer is usually, I only know the one that you're being taught in class. But the problem is, you do realize that by the time you graduate, there's going to be something else. Okay, computers are changing and everything is changing. Are you acquiring more skills that are going to separate you from the rest of the pack? So that's the thing you have to understand is employers are not necessarily so keen on your papers, because your papers help you to get the interview. But then past that, they're more keen on how productive are you going to be. They're more keen on how flexible you're going to be. Because look, as we pointed out when you're starting, the whole idea of a workforce, okay, currently is that we are looking for people who can help us to reduce the cost of production. We are looking for people who can help us to get a competitive advantage. So can you imagine if you are one of those people who've graduated with, say, a degree in sales or something, and then you're good at social media marketing, okay? See, that sort of gives you an added advantage, okay? It sort of makes you more productive than the other guy who just has a similar degree and that's it. They know nothing about Facebook marketing. They know nothing about Insta, Twitter, whatever, all this stuff, okay? So the first thing, do you have a set of skills? Yes, I do have a set of skills. The second thing is, how flexible are you? How, those skills, are they helping you to sort of maintain, a fruitful work life, okay? For how long are you going to work, and what's the connection between the skills and, how long you want to work? So what I'm simply saying here is, look, yes, you have your papers, or yes, you have whatever qualifications. What is trending in that market? Do you know whatever is trending in that market? Are you good? Are you good with the changes that are coming up in that market? If the answer is no, then there's nothing different, between you and anybody else. And so if you don't get a job, rather than blaming the government or whatever it is that you want to blame, just ask yourself, how can I make myself more, how can I make myself to be better than everybody else? How can I add demand, okay, to whatever I already know? Now, the third thing that you also have to understand about employment is that it relates to the ability to actually get a job and stay in employment regardless of the changes that take place in the organization and the wider economy. So look, before you pursue a career, okay, that is going to be job related or something, you're always going to have to ask yourself, where do I see myself in, depending on how long you want to work? See, the same question happens in entrepreneurship. It's always the question of, is there demand for this product, and for how long are people going to be in need of this product? So the same thing, is there demand for your skill set, and for how long are people going to need those skill sets, okay? So if the answer is not for long, then that means even if you get a job now, you'll be out of job in like 2 years or whatever it is, okay? So that's the question you have to ask yourself. So there are three things. Number one is, what skill sets do I have? Number two is whether or not I'm going to be productive, okay? And how flexible am I? And number three is, can I really get a job? And for how long am I going to hold on to that job? So most people don't ask themselves that. It's like, think about it, it's like the taxi drivers, okay? Right now, most people are mad at these taxi app companies, the Ubers and whatever it is, okay? So they think that if the government steps in and prevents, say, Uber from coming to your city, that is going to help, nurture the taxi drivers' jobs. The reality is, it's not going to do it, because, you could stop Uber right now, but people already know that it's easier to get a taxi from your phone. So one way or the other, those jobs are just going to go down the drain, or, something new is going to come up that will just make it over, okay? I mean, dial delivery sort of changes the way we do things. So ask yourself, for how long is my career going to, basically for how long are these skill sets going to help me hold on to a job? If you're into a job, because if you're into a business, then the question is, it's going to be a different question. Now, the next thing that you need to understand is, let's assume you're already working, okay? And you want to transfer from one work to the next one. So the question becomes, what transferable skills do you have? Transferable skills mean the skills you develop in one job and can be used in another job role or another organization. Example of such skills will include technology literacy, communication, basically how you talk to clients, leadership skills, ability to handle complaints. For instance, if you act at a customer care desk and you want to transition to HR, then the ability to handle complaints is one of those transferable skills that you can carry with you from your former job to the one that you're currently applying for. Okay, so the idea here is that, look, you're trying to sort of create value, trying to make yourself more valuable, and you're also trying to have a competitive advantage. You're sort of trying to tell your employers that, look, yes, I have skills, but in addition to those skills, I also have A, B, C, D. Okay, like I have technical skills and work experience, but I also have these other soft skills that can help me, or that will help you guys benefit from, you know, my position if I get the job here. So remember, going for an interview, rather having those paper qualifications, they just mean that you'll get to go for an interview. They don't necessarily mean that you'll get the job. So don't be one of those people who go around saying, look, if only I had, academic, whatever. Just don't blame people for your inability to get a job. It's time for you to start thinking about how much value, rather, it's time for you to start thinking about employability and self-development. So in the next video, we'll talk about, we will talk about soft skills and pretty much everything else that you need in relation to your career development. If you have any questions, do let me know. I'm Moses from Zerite Network, and I'll see you in the next video.